Let's continue with valuation of benefits in kind. Yeah, and the fifth one is provision of interest-free loans. All low interest loans exceeding 1M, you have to note that. For a period exceeding 3 months, you also have to note that results in a taxable benefit to an employee. So if your employer gives you a loan, either without interest, since they know you, they can tell you, they can just give you money and they tell you you bring it back without any interest. Or they can reduce on the interest rate just for you because you're their employee. So it is also regarded as a benefit in kind, because if you were not their employee, they wouldn't have done that for you. Yeah. So, but the loan has to be exceeding 1 million in order for it to be taxed. It has to be exceeding 1 million, and then for a period of 3 months. So if they give you a loan of 900k for a period of 3 months or 4 months, it's not taxed. Or if they give you a loan of 1 million for a period of 1 month, it is still not taxed. So these two conditions have to be fulfilled. The loan has to be exceeding 1 million and then in a period exceeding 3 months. Yeah, it's when it is taxable. Yeah. So provision of interest-free loans or low interest loans exceeding 1M for a period exceeding 3 months, it's regarded as a benefit in kind. And if interest charged on the loan is below the statutory rate. Yeah. Statutory rate is always the rate for Bank of Uganda. Yeah, so statutory rate, it refers to the Bank of Uganda discount rate at the commencement of the year of income. It is what we call the statutory rate. Yeah, the interest rate that the Bank of Uganda uses when they're giving out loans. Yeah, so the interest rate that is charged on the loan that is given to the employee must be below the statutory rate in order for it to be regarded as a benefit in kind. Yeah, so how do we? So here we come up with what we call the loan benefit. In this case, loan benefit. You're benefiting from the loan. Yeah, so the value of the benefit is the difference between the interest paid by the employee, if any, and the interest that would be payable using the Bank of Uganda rate. The interest paid by the employee, maybe the Bank of Uganda rate is 10%. And for you, they tell you, since you are our employee, you bring 2% interest. 2% interest. So the difference between 10 and 2 becomes the benefit. So you get 10 minus 2, which is 8%, then times the loan, the value of the loan, to get the loan, the value of the benefit. Yeah, we are going to see that. Let's have an example. An example here, it is that Moves provides its staff with loans at a rate of 2%. Its staff only provides its staff with loans at a rate of 2% per annum. The prevailing statutory rate, which is for the Bank of Uganda, is 6% per annum. So Okech, who is an employee or staff, took advantage of this competitive rate and borrowed 60 million. Yeah, he borrowed 60 million. So first of all, they did not give us the period, but the fact that he borrowed 60 million, it is above 1M, because we said in order for it to be considered, it must be above 1M. So he borrowed 60M. He borrowed 60M and required. They want us to determine the value of the benefit enjoyed by Okech. Let's say maybe it was for a period of 4 months. Yeah, so it is exceeding 3 months and it's exceeding 1 million. So there is a benefit here and it is taxable. Yeah. So determine the value of the benefit enjoyed by your catch. We get 6% of 60M, which is the one for the statutory rate. So 6 out of 100 times 60M. You write 6 and then count the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the 7 zeros you can just put on the calculator, E, and then 7. It makes 60M. So it is 3.6. 3.6. Then we less 2% of 60M, the 2% that is real paying, because this is the statutory rate, but this is what he's supposed to bring as interest. So 2% of 60M, it is 2 out of 100 times 2 out of 100 times 60M, which is 1.2. 1.2. Then the difference becomes the value of the benefit. So 3, 6, E5, the 5 zeros, minus 1, 2, E5. It is 2.4. Yeah, so the value of the benefit is 2.4. Yeah, you can either do it like that or you can do it like this. We can say 6% minus 2%, then times 60M to get the value of the benefit. Let's do it and see what we get. 6 minus 2, it is 4. Divide by 100. Then times 60M. It is 2.4, so it is the same thing. They all give us the same answer. You just decide which one to use, yeah, and which one to leave. So the value of the benefit is 2.4. Yeah, and that is the valuation of the loan benefit. Yeah. Then let's look at another benefit in kind. Is the waiver of an employee debt obligation by the employer or any other person associated with the employer. The benefit to the employer as a result of the waiver is the amount actually waived. So if they pay a debt obligation, if they pay your debt as an employee, if your employer pays your debt on your behalf, or if someone related to the employer pays your debt, for example, his wife, his child, his mother, if they pay, it is also considered as a benefit. Yeah, in case you benefit in any way. Yeah, or if they forgive you. If they forgive you, maybe they were demanding you and they just decide to forgive you. Yeah, it is also regarded as a benefit in some way. We shall see that in case we do an example. Yeah, so the waiver of an employee's debt obligation by the employer or any other person associated with the employer is regarded as a benefit in kind. Then another benefit in kind we have is the transfer or use of property or provision of services by the employer to the employee. The transfer or use of property or provision of services by the employer to the employee. If the employer gives you property, yeah, to use for your personal use or private use. Yeah, and here the value of the benefit is the market value of the property that they have given you or services, less any payment by the employee for the property. Yeah, maybe if they pay for you rent, if they are to pay for you rent, it is a service. Yeah, but when rent is 500k and they tell you to contribute 50k, so the value of the benefit is the difference between those two. Yeah. So the transfer or use of property or provision of services by the employer to the employee, it is also regarded as a benefit in kind. Yeah, let's see that. An example. Let's have an example. Kato was offered the office laptop for his private use. So office laptop is the property for his private use, meaning is benefiting and it has to be taxed for his private studies while pursuing a master's program at Gulu University. The value of the laptop was 950 when provided to him on 1st January 2019. Then he made an annual contribution of 100,000 required. Determine the value of the benefit. Yeah, so in order for us to get the value of the benefit, we get the market value of the laptop when it was given to him, which was 1st Jan 2019. So it was 950. And then we less the contribution, which is 100K. Then we get the annual value of the benefit. So 950 minus 100,000, it is 850. So the value of the benefit is 850. It is what he's benefiting. Yeah. Then another benefit in kind is provision of accommodation or housing other than by way of allowance, reimbursement, or discharge. If they give you accommodation instead of giving you housing allowance, yeah, they give you the house itself. Yeah, how do we value that? Yeah, so the value of the benefit in this case is the lesser. So this one we have to be so keen. The value of the benefit. The value of the benefit in this case is the lesser. So the lesser of these two is what we take. First is the market rent of accommodation or housing reduced by the employee's contribution. The employee's contribution for the benefit. That is the first one. We get the market value of the accommodation. We less the employee contribution. That is part A. Then the second part, we get 15% of the employment income, including the amount referred to in 1, including this amount, paid by the employer to the employee for the year of income in which accommodation was provided. Yeah, so we get 15% of employment income, and then we get market value here. We less the contribution, then we get answers in both parts. The answer here and answer here, the lesser is what we take. If here we get 2M and here we get 1M, so we take this to be the value of the accommodation benefit, 1M. Yeah. We are going to see that in an example. So notes is that where housing is provided to workers within the same compound as the person they work for, it is normally called boys' quarters. No benefits should be attached to such accommodation. Yeah, so if they give you a house but you are staying with your boss in the same compound, it is not regarded as a benefit in kind, like it's not taxed. Yeah, so no benefit should be attached to such accommodation if you're staying with your boss in the same compound. Yeah, then let's have an example. An example is Mr. Kawalia is accommodated in Kololo, plot 4, Prince Charles Drive. the value, the house is a property of Moobs. So it is a property of Moobs, and Mr. Kawalia is the employee. The house is a property of Moobs, and the market value of similar properties in the same location is 5M per annum. It is the market value of the accommodation. Then he makes a contribution of 500k per annum for this benefit. He makes a contribution of 500k for this benefit. His other emoluments are like payments, amount to 9 million per annum. So he's paid 9 million per annum without including the accommodation thing. Yeah, so they want us to determine the value of the benefit, or the value of the accommodation benefit. Yeah, so let's look at it. First, we have two things. We have to have part A and then part B and then compare. Yeah, here we said part A. Here, part A, we said we look at the lesser of these two. So the first part is the market rent of the accommodation or housing reduced by the employee's contribution for the benefit. So we are going to first calculate for part A. Yeah, the market value of the accommodation, and according to the question, the market value of the accommodation was 5M. So we rate it here. Market rent is 5M. Then we less the contribution by the employee. Contribution by the employee, they told us he makes a contribution of 500,000 per annum for the benefits. So we less the contribution, which is 500,000. So if we put it in a calculator, it is 5M, that's 6 zeros, which is 5M minus 500,000, which is 4.5. Yeah, so 4.5 is the benefit in part A, but we said we have to compare with part B, so we even go ahead and calculate for part B. Yeah. So part B, we said it is 15% of the employment income, including the amount referred to in this, including the amount that we get here, for the year of income in which accommodation was provided. So here, they said his other emoluments amounted to 9M. So it is the employment income without accommodation. So his other emoluments amount to 9M. So we come here, we say other emoluments, it is 9M, then we add, because they told us plus what was gotten in part A. So we add this, we add the 4.5, the value in A above, which is 4.5, to get the employment income, the total employment income. So 9M, which is 6 zeros, 9M plus 4.5, it has 5 zeros, it is 13.5M. So 13.5M is what we get. After that, they told us we get 15% of employment income. So we come here and get 15% of the 13.5 times 15 divided by 100. It is 2,025,000. So 2,025,000 is the value in part B. But we said we compare the two to see the lesser. The lesser is what we take as the value of accommodation. When you compare 4M and 2M, 2M is lesser than this. So we take this. So the value of the accommodation is UPX 2,025,000. That is the value of accommodation. Yeah. And let's look at the last benefit in kind, is any other benefit or advantage or facility granted by the employer to an employee is valued at the market value of the benefit less any payment made by the employee for the benefit. So any other benefit, advantage, or facility granted by the employer to the employee is regarded as a benefit in kind. And in order for us to get its value, we just get the market value and we less the employee contribution. Employee contribution to get the value of the benefit. Yeah, this has been the valuation of benefits in kind. Yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. Don't forget to subscribe. We are going to look at other things in the next videos, plus an example.